They don't lie to you about the price of an RV. They just don't tell you what ownership quietly turns into. The real costs don't show up on the invoice. They arrive later, when options shrink, rules tighten, and urgency replaces choice. By the time most owners notice them, leaving has already become expensive. So let's stop talking in general terms and count them down, starting with the first cost that hits when optimism fails and the road decides for you. Emergency towing for oversized RVs. The moment a heavy Class A diesel pusher stops breathing, the clock starts, and the bill does not care how careful you were. Emergency towing for oversized RV rigs is the first hidden cost that turns a routine trip into a financial shock. This is not roadside assistance for a pickup. It is specialized, scarce, priced for urgency, and shaped by geography. Most owners picture a simple hookup, a short drag to the closest shop, and a charge that feels annoying rather than life-altering. That belief collapses fast the first time a 40-foot rig sits dead on a shoulder with traffic roaring past. A disabled motorhome weighing 30,000 pounds or more often needs heavy rotator trucks, trained operators, traffic control, permits, and sometimes law enforcement coordination. Some situations are not tows at all. They are recoveries, pulling a coach off soft shoulder, stabilizing a leaning rig, lifting axles to prevent frame damage, or repositioning the unit to avoid blocking a lane. Recovery labor is billed differently, and it starts high. Real invoices show short pulls landing between $3,000 and $6,000 before mileage gets added. After hours calls push the base rate up again. If you are in a mountain corridor, a desert stretch, or a rural county where heavy tow assets are limited, the scarcity becomes part of the price. Wait times stretch into half a day, hotels get booked, meals get purchased, reservations get missed, and the trip starts, bleeding money through secondary costs that never appear in the brochure. Even small failures can trigger big recovery bills. A tire blowout on a heavy rig can become a multi-vehicle response if clearance, jacking points, axle ratings, or road slope limit who can safely help. A shredded tire can take out wiring, airlines, or body panels, turning a tire call into a complicated immobilization. This cost hides because breakdowns feel rare until age, heat, weight, and vibration line up. Hoses fatigue, belts glaze, sensors fail, and one warning light becomes a shutdown. Air systems leak. Coolant systems lose pressure. A fuel contamination issue turns into a no start. The complexity of diesel pushers magnifies downtime because diagnosis itself takes time, and parts may sit hours away. Labor clocks keep running while nothing moves. The bill grows in slow motion, which feels worse than a single hit, because you keep hoping it will stabilize. Insurance rarely saves you. Standard policies, cap towing coverage far below real recovery costs, leaving the gap squarely on your card. Extended service plans advertise protection, then exclude vehicles above certain lengths or weights, or cap per incident amounts in fine print that becomes painfully visible at the worst moment. The emotional hit follows the financial one. You are stranded, schedules collapse, campground cancellations trigger penalties, and pressure builds to accept the first operator who answers. Scarcity kills negotiation. Rates harden. Urgency wins. A single mechanical failure can quietly drain savings you planned to protect. There is a smarter posture. Before travel, verify heavy-duty towing limits in writing, not the headline number. Ask what qualifies as recovery versus tow. Confirm length and weight eligibility. Research heavy tow providers along your route and save numbers before you need them. Keep a reserve fund earmarked for recovery, not upgrades. Build habits that reduce risk. Conservative loading, temperature monitoring on climbs, routine inspections, realistic speed choices, humility about terrain. Because the moment tow lights flash in your mirror, leverage is gone, options narrow, and the lesson arrives fully priced. That is only the opening cost. Another hidden drain follows you mile after mile without braking at all. Forced route detours that burn cash. Quietly, maps never tell the full truth. Once a long RV rolls past the city limits and into restricted territory. Forced route detours quietly drain money because they feel harmless at first. A low bridge sign appears at the edge of a town. A tunnel restriction flashes too late to turn around. A weight limit blocks the road after the last safe exit. None of these moments feel expensive in isolation, yet each one triggers a chain reaction that keeps charging long after the steering wheel turns. Digital navigation promises the shortest path, but it was built for cars, not 40-foot motorhomes, tag axles, or extended fifth wheels. When clearance drops below 13 feet, or propane restrictions block a tunnel regardless of tank status, the R-Vee gets pushed outward, miles add up, fuel burns faster, planned arrival times collapse, campground reservations evaporate, while the rig circles unfamiliar towns, searching for legal pavement that can handle its size. A single detour of 30 extra miles sounds small. It never stays small. That detour often forces an unplanned overnight stop, a paid campsite, or a last-minute private park charging premium rates because demand spikes without warning. Fuel consumption climbs because oversized rigs do not sip, they gulp. Each added mile multiplies cost through weight, wind resistance, rolling drag, and heat load on drivetrains. Detours cluster in predictable places. Ports with hazmat rules, mountain passes with grade restrictions, urban corridors with aging infrastructure, and historic districts never designed for modern R-Vee dimensions. Bridges with posted weight limits quietly exclude heavy axles. Tunnels restrict propane even when tanks are shut off. Downtown areas ban oversized vehicles entirely. The signage often appears late, sometimes after the final safe turnaround. By then, the route is no longer a choice. It is assigned. The real damage hides in the secondary costs that never appear as a single dramatic charge. Extra fuel pushes daily budgets past comfort. Extra nights stack campground fees that were never planned. Food gets purchased on the road instead of at stocked stops, increasing costs and waste. Wear accumulates on brakes, transmissions, and cooling systems as grades steepen and speeds drop. Tires heat up under sustained detours. Cooling fans run harder. Nothing breaks. Yet the wallet bleeds steadily without an invoice to blame. This cost hurts because it feels like bad luck instead of policy. But it is predictable. R-Vee length, height, and weight trigger these reroutes repeatedly. Planning with car-based tools ignores that reality. Specialized R-Vee navigation reduces risk by accounting for clearances, grades, axle limits, and restrictions, yet many skip it to save money, only to spend far more later. Detours also steal time in ways that compound stress. Arrival windows shrink. Check-in deadlines get missed. Drivers push longer hours to make up distance, increasing fatigue and error. Fatigue invites rushed decisions, missed walkarounds, and sloppy setups. A small mistake at the end of a long day can create its own costs. From damaged hookups to curb strikes and suspension wear, the detour becomes more than a distance problem. It becomes a pressure problem, squeezing judgment at exactly the wrong moment. Protection comes from accepting limits early instead of arguing with them on the road. No true height, including air conditioners, satellite domes, and roof racks. No axle weights when fully loaded with water, fuel, and gear. Map routes with restrictions before departure, not during a Fokidi surprise stop. Build time buffers so detours do not force panic decisions. A calm reroute costs less than a rushed one. Stopping early preserves options. Pushing late narrows them. Forced detours teach a quiet lesson. The road charges interest when size exceeds flexibility. Every extra mile compounds cost without permission. And while the R-Vee keeps moving, money slips away unnoticed. There is also a psychological toll. Repeated detours erode confidence. Trips begin to feel reactive rather than planned. Owners start avoiding certain regions entirely, shrinking travel choices and reducing value from ownership. What was purchased as freedom starts behaving like constraint. That shift rarely shows up in spreadsheets, but it shapes decisions just as strongly as fuel prices. Then comes another cost that does not move at all, yet charges you every night it sits. It waits silently, predictable, unavoidable, and patient until fatigue, weather, or policy force. Another pause that drains fuel, time, confidence, and cash without warning long after optimism fades completely. Before we go further, if this breakdown is helping you avoid costly mistakes, hit like so more people see it, subscribe for numbers first analysis, and share your experience in the comments so others don't get trapped the same way. Last minute campground pricing pressure. Nothing drains confidence faster than arriving late, tired, and forced to pay whatever price appears on the gate. Last minute, campground pricing pressure is hidden because it pretends to be optional. until every alternative disappears. At that moment, the nightly rate stops being a choice and becomes a demand. Early planning makes camping feel affordable. Calendars look open, rates look reasonable. Then weather shifts, traffic stalls, or a detour stretches the day. Arrival slips past sunset. Public land is restricted. Local ordinances block overnight parking. Suddenly, the R-Vee needs a legal place to sit, and options shrink fast. Private campgrounds know this moment well. Vacancy signs flip to premium pricing after dark. The posted rate doubles for same-day arrivals. Extra fees appear for length, hookups, pets, or late check-in. None of this feels negotiable because it is not. The gate code is the leverage. A planned $40 night quietly becomes $95. Add taxes, add resort fees, add mandatory utility charges. Multiply that by multiple nights when plans keep slipping. The total climbs without a receipt that feels dramatic, yet the damage accumulates steadily. This pressure hits hardest near national parks, coastal corridors, and event weekends. Supply tightens instantly. Demand spikes without warning. Campgrounds raise rates because they can, not because costs increase that day. The R-Vee absorbs the difference. The hidden cost is not just money, it is timing stress. Drivers push longer hours to avoid another expensive night. Fatigue grows, mistakes creep in. That pressure leads to rushed setups, missed checks, and preventable wear. Saving money starts costing safety. Even seasoned travelers fall into this trap. Flexibility sounds like freedom until pricing punishes flexibility itself. Without reservations, the market sets the terms. With oversized rigs, alternatives vanish faster. Length restrictions remove options. Height limits block backups. Suddenly, the only open park controls the price. Protection comes from understanding patterns. Weekends inflate faster than weekdays. Tourist seasons harden rates early. Weather disruptions spike demand within hours. Booking buffers and backup reservations cost less than last-minute arrivals. Planning is cheaper than improvisation. There is also power in knowing when to stop early. Arriving before peak check-in preserves choice. Accepting shorter days protects budget and nerves. The R-Vee does not reward pushing late into scarcity. See, campground premiums punish late arrivals in one burst, but the next cost drains cash slowly during downtime, charging rent while the rig sits unused. The bill starts after parking becomes mandatory. Power system, where you don't see until it fails. Electricity never announces trouble before it disappears. Power systems fail quietly, and that silence is expensive inside a large R-Vee. Generators, inverters, converters, battery banks, and transfer switches age every mile and every hour. They work until they do not, and when they stop, the bill arrives immediately. Heat accelerates wear. Cold thickens resistance. Vibration loosens connections. Time finishes the job. Most owners only notice failure when air conditioning cuts out, refrigeration warms, or lights flicker at the worst moment. That moment often happens far from service, during heat waves or cold snaps that push systems beyond comfort. A generator that ran fine yesterday suddenly refuses to carry load today. Battery banks lose capacity slowly, then collapse fast. Inverters overheat under sustained demand, shutting down to protect themselves. None of this feels dramatic until the inside of the R-Vee becomes unlivable. Repairs are rarely small. Mobile technicians charge premium rates, and parts availability dictates time and cost. A failed converter can strand a R-Vee without charging, forcing hotel stays while waiting for delivery. Those nights stack expenses that never show up in maintenance budgets. The hidden cost is neglect born from invisibility. Power systems are buried behind panels and cabinets, quietly aging without reminders. Maintenance feels optional until it becomes urgent. Testing under load, cleaning connections, and monitoring temperatures catch problems early. Ignoring those steps saves time today and costs thousands later. Smart planning means budgeting replacement cycles, not just fuel and campsites. It means respecting heat, reducing load, and avoiding constant cycling. Because when power fails, comfort disappears instantly, and options shrink to whatever arrives first. Generator. Hour meters tick even when you do not feel them. A portable generator replacement can cost $5,000, while lithium battery banks push far higher. Labor adds quickly, especially when diagnostics stretch over days. Downtime forces decisions. Do you wait, or do you pay whatever it takes to move again? That pressure is the real expense, because urgency erases choice. Prepared owners track hours, cycle depth, and temperature trends. They service before failure, not after. They carry reserves, financial and electrical, so surprises cost less. Power is invisible until it is gone. Then it becomes everything. Smart owners don't just maintain wires, they read policy policies line by line, clarify assumptions, and prepare for denials before they happen, because the next bill won't be mechanical, it'll be contractual. Insurance gaps that appear only after the damage. Paperwork feels harmless until it decides who pays. Insurance gaps reveal themselves only after damage, when assumptions meet policy language and lose. Inside a large R-Vee, coverage looks complete right up to the moment a claim is filed and reduced. Most owners remember the premium and forget the exclusions. Policies often draw lines around full-time use, extended stays, towing scenarios, flood zones, and storage locations. Those lines stay invisible during calm miles. They appear only when loss demands clarity. A collision during a relocation day can be labeled commercial use. A long stay can be classified as residency. A roadside repair can be excluded if the incident is deemed wear instead of accident. Each classification trims reimbursement quietly. The deductible remains. The gap becomes personal. Claims also hinge on valuation methods. Actual cash value subtracts depreciation before payment. Replacement cost sounds safer, but often applies only to certain components. Personal property limits cap reimbursement for tools, electronics, and upgrades. Receipts matter. Age matters. Timing matters. The shock lands when the adjuster explains what is not covered. Towing caps fall far below real recovery costs. Temporary housing coverage ends quickly. Storage fees stop being reimbursed after short windows. The R-Vee sits while bills continue. This cost hides because insurance language is calm and dense. Riders promise peace of mind, while footnotes narrow protection. Many policies renew automatically, carrying outdated assumptions forward. The risk compounds quietly as usage changes. Protection begins before the trip. Read exclusions aloud. Confirm coverage for full-time living, long stays, and roadside incidents. Ask about heavy-duty towing limits in writing. Verify valuation methods and personal property caps. Document upgrades with photos and receipts. It also means aligning behavior with coverage. Declare usage accurately. Adjust policies when travel patterns change. Pay slightly more to close dangerous gaps. That money buys certainty when stress peaks. When damage happens, speed matters. Notify immediately. Follow documentation rules exactly. Keep records clean. Delays and deviations invite denials. Precision protects payout. Insurance gaps teach a hard truth. Coverage is not a feeling. It is a contract that pays only within its borders. Ignore those borders, and losses migrate to your balance sheet. Assumptions collapse when claims are filed. Language decides outcomes. Preparation narrows risk. Clarity protects cash. Read exclusions, confirm limits, align use with coverage. Precision turns disputes into payments. Neglect turns confidence into cost. Every review saves money later consistently. Confidence grows when expectations match reality. Insurance should remove doubt, not create it. Clarify deductibles, endorsements, sublimits, and geographic restrictions. Store policy documents offline. Review them annually. Ask direct questions and get written answers. Calm preparation turns disputes into checklists instead of arguments. That preparation protects cash, time, and dignity when pressure peaks and decisions narrow. Clarity now prevents silence later when outcomes matter most. Preparation beats panic every time. But what does it cost to park instead of travel? How expensive does waiting become when every passing month turns into another quiet payment? Storage and forced parking fees that stack monthly. Sometimes the R-Vee is not broken. It is simply not allowed to be where it sits. That is when storage and forced parking fees begin stacking month after month, quietly draining cash without warning. Life interferes. Repairs take longer. Weather closes, passes. Health pauses travel. Cities tighten ordinances. Homeowners associations enforce rules. Overnight, parking disappears. Suddenly, the R-Vee needs somewhere legal to exist, and storage yards know it. Monthly rates look manageable at first. $150 becomes $250. Covered storage costs more. Oversized rigs pay premiums. Add security, access fees, and taxes. The total creeps upward while usage drops. This cost hides because it feels temporary. One more month, then another. Storage contracts renew. Lots raise rates. Waiting feels safer than selling into a soft market. The bill keeps coming. Forced parking adds pressure. Municipal restrictions limit street stays. Temporary permits cost money. Violations invite tickets and towing. To avoid risk, owners choose paid lots with predictable rules. Predictable costs feel safer until months pass. The real damage is opportunity. Money tied up in storage cannot fund repairs, insurance, or flexibility. Each payment delays decisions. Selling later feels harder. Momentum fades. The R-Vee becomes an obligation, not a tool. Protection starts with planning exits. Know storage rates before you need them. Compare long-term versus short-term. Ask about increases. Read notice clauses. Budget storage as a real expense, not a placeholder. Also, plan time. Decide how long storage makes sense. Set limits. When those limits hit, act. Move, sell, or adjust. Indecision is the most expensive option. Storage and forced parking fees teach discipline. They reward clarity and punish delay. The R-Vee does not forgive hesitation. It charges rent while waiting. Storage contracts also hide penalties. Early termination fees apply. Access hours limit retrieval. Missed payments trigger liens. Retrieval requires appointments, paperwork, and patience. Each hurdle adds friction, and friction adds cost. Knowing this early preserves leverage, because leverage fades once keys are handed over. Read terms, keep copies, and choose locations with clear exit paths. Now, in the end, one cost outweighs all others. Depreciation delivers the verdict, ignoring effort, patience, and intent. Closing options without appeal. Depreciation that traps owners financially. Depreciation never announces itself with noise. It works quietly, steadily, and without emotion. The moment a new R-Vee leaves the lot, value begins to slide. Not because something broke, but because supply, timing, and financing shifted. That first year is where most people lose control. A purchase that felt manageable on paper becomes heavy once market reality steps in. Discounts appear, incentives multiply, dealer inventory grows. Used values fall faster than payments. Depreciation accelerates when oversupply hits. During slowdowns, new pricing collapses, dragging used prices down with it. A R-Vee bought for $90,000 can appraise closer to $70,000 before the first loan statement feels familiar. Financing tightens the trap. Long terms stretch balances forward, while values drop behind. Owners discover they owe more than the R-Vee is worth. Selling requires writing a check. Trading locks in loss. Waiting feels safer, but time rarely reverses depreciation. For current owners, clarity matters. Track market movement. Compare listings. Accept reality early. Small losses hurt less than delayed ones. Control timing, condition, and expectations. Those choices define outcomes. Depreciation is not personal. It is arithmetic. It punishes urgency and rewards patience. It ignores intentions, memories, and upgrades. It only respects timing. When this truth is understood, fear recedes. Decisions slow. Pressure weakens. Owners regain control. The R-Vee becomes a tool again, not a financial anchor. The final lesson is simple. Depreciation cannot be defeated, but it can be managed. Timing, restraint, and honesty protect value far better than optimism, hype, urgency, or promises made during peak demand cycles. Those who respect the math exit cleanly, preserve cash, avoid regret, and stay flexible when markets turn without warning, suddenly and repeatedly again. Understand the math, respect the cycle, act deliberately. That discipline keeps losses survivable, exits available, and decisions yours. Hidden costs lose power when named. Depreciation loses power when planned. That awareness is the real protection because it preserves money, dignity, and choice long after the road ends. Hidden costs only win when they stay invisible. Now you've seen them, named them, and understood how they tighten over time, and that changes outcomes. Move slower. Question timing. Protect exits before entering. If this breakdown saved you money or stress, like the video so more owners see it, and subscribe for clear, numbers-first analysis before costs hit. Drop your questions or experiences in the comments. I read them, and they shape what comes next. Preparation beats urgency every time.